Myself, M. Karthik Kumar Reddy, working as an assistant professor in Nalla Narasimha Reddy Education Society's group of institutions in the Department of Civil Engineering. Here in the Foundation Engineering subject, I am going to explain about types of soil samples, undisturbed and disturbed soil samples. Coming to undisturbed soil samples, in which natural structure of the soil and water content are retained intact is called as undisturbed soil samples. This is used for determining engineering properties of the soil, that is permeability, flow of water through soil, compressibility is used to reduce void ratio and porosity in the soil, and shear strength used to determine cohesion and angle of internal friction, that is smoothness and roughness of the soil. By using the formula tau is equal to C plus sigma tan phi, shear strength formula. Coming to the disturbed samples, in which natural structure is disturbed, this is used for determining index properties. We can observe from this that undisturbed samples are used for determining engineering properties, that is permeability, compressibility and shear strength, and disturbed samples are used for determining index properties. Here we are going to use a sampler to collect the soil sample, and we are going to use type of samplers for different types of soils. Thin wall sampler is used to collect undisturbed samples, that is engineering properties of the soil, and thick wall sampler is used to collect disturbed samples to find the index properties of the soil. Here what is the figure means how much soil we are going to dig based upon the area ratio. Area ratio A suffix R is equal to maximum cross sectional area of the cutting edge by area of soil sample. Here we can see that D1, D2, D3, D4, that is inside clearance, outside clearance, sampling tube and cutting edge at the bottom, sharp cutting edge. Whenever the sharp cutting edge is there, we can dig the soil easily. Area ratio formula A suffix R is equal to D2 square minus D1 square by D1 square into 100, that is outside clearance minus inside clearance by inside clearance into 100, general formula. To obtain undisturbed soil sample, area ratio should be greater than 10%. Inside clearance, we have to use the formula D3 minus D1 by D1 into 100. To obtain undisturbed sample, it should be 0.5 to 3%. Outside clearance, we can use by formula D2 minus D4 by D4 into 100. It shall be 0 to 2%. Coming to the silt sponge sampler, this is commonly used for obtaining a disturbed sample. Here we are using different samplers for obtaining different samples. Shell bite tubes is used to obtain undisturbed samples of clay. As the clay is in a smooth condition, if we use slit spoon sampler by digging naturally, that soil will be sticking and it will be falling downwards. That's why we are using shell bite tube. Shell means protection. And a piston sampler to obtain undisturbed samples of soft and sensitive clays. We are doing pressurometer test to determine the stress deformation characteristics of soils in the in situ conditions. In situ condition means in the site whatever the soil conditions are there. Geophysical methods used to determine seismic refraction method and seismic reflection method. Seismic refraction method is used for civil engineering investigation. It means seismic refraction method is used for subsoil investigation. This method cannot be used if a hot layer with a great seismic velocity overlays a soft layer with a smaller seismic velocity. Seismic refraction method is used in petroleum exploration. What are the different steps involved in soil exploration means planning of a program for soil exploration. First we have to plan where we have to dig the soil. Collection of disturbed and undisturbed soils. Already we have discussed. Undisturbed soil sample means engineering properties, and disturbed sample means for determining index properties of soil or rock samples from holes drilled in the field. The number and depth of holes should be depending upon the project. For small and less important buildings, at least one number at center. For large and more buildings, 5 numbers. This is conducting all the necessary in situ tests for obtaining the shear strength. That shear strength tau is equal to C plus sigma tan phi, cohesion and angle of internal friction depending upon the smoothness and roughness of the soil, and compressibility characteristics, that is void ratio and porosity of the soil or rock directly or indirectly, and study of groundwater conditions by doing geological investigations, geophysical and hydrological investigations, and collection of water samples for chemical analysis. geophysical exploration if required also we can do by conducting all the necessary tests on the sample of soils, rock and water collected. We can determine index properties as well as engineering properties for based on disturbed samples and undisturbed samples. Finally, after getting the properties of the soil, we are going to prepare for drawing of charts. Next, we are going to analyze the data whatever we are collected. Finally, we are going to prepare a report and we are going to give the for the construction engineer whether we have to go for shallow foundation or deep foundation based upon the properties of the soil. Again, we have to depend which type of buildings we have to come to. Either we can go for ground floor, G+1 or G+2 or more than that depending upon this. These are the different in situ field tests. In situ means field test for a project may consist of any one of the following tests depending upon the type of tile. Depending upon the type of soil. Standard penetration test is conducted in cohesionless soil, that is red soil and moram soil. Static cone penetration test is conducted in cohesive soil, and vein shear test is conducted as the liquid limit test whenever it will be not available in the field or whenever we cannot get the liquid limit results. At that time we can go for vein shear test. Next, plate load test is conducted in the field itself to find the ultimate bearing capacity of the soil, and permeability is used to conduct the flow of water through soil. Permeability will be depending upon again concentrated permeability and variable head permeability depending upon the type of soil, either it is a cohesive soil or non-cohesive soil. Coming to soil stabilization. Soil stabilization in a general term for any physical, chemical, mechanical, biological or combined method of changing a natural soil to meet an engineering purpose, mainly to increase the strength of the particular soil. Wherever a soil is weak, to increase the strength of the particular soil, to improve the bearing capacity of the soil, we are going to stabilize the soil either by using physical methods, that is compaction, or chemical methods by mixing chemicals. Mechanical means with the help of machine rollers. These improvements include increasing the weight bearing capacity, that weight bearing capacity, tensile strength and overall performance of the in situ subsoils. In situ means in the site whatever we are going to conduct the test, sands and waste materials in order to strengthen road pavements. In the construction of roads, sometimes we are going to use waste materials like waste plastic, coir fibers to increase the strength of the road pavements. What are the different types of stabilization means? First one, mechanical stabilization. Mechanical stabilization is used by changing the soil gradation, by increasing the soil grades from smooth soil to hard soil. As we are compacting the soil, its gradation will be increased. Here we are not going to use any chemicals for doing the mechanical stabilization. Mainly this is used for roads. Why? Because whenever we are constructing the roads, we are rolling the rollers continuously to reduce the vibration and porosity. Next, cement stabilization. Cement stabilization means mixing soil plus cement plus water plus compaction. After doing all the tests, we are going for curing. First, initially we are mixing soil, cement and water. After this, we are compacting. Next, finally we are curing for a specified number of days. The quantity of sand required approximately will be depending for 5% for sands and 15% for clays. Coming to lime stabilization, this is the general stabilization, general chemical stabilization nowadays whatever they are using. This is used for clay soils. Hydrated lime is mostly used. This is not effective for sandy soils. As the lime is mixed in the soil, liquid limit decreases, plastic limit increases, and the plasticity index, that plasticity index formula Pa is equal to plasticity index equal to liquid limit minus plastic limit of the soil decreases. Coming to chemical stabilization, generally they are going to use calcium chloride, sodium chloride and sodium silicate are used for increasing the strength of the particular soil. Coming to the ground improvement techniques, first one, electroosmosis. This is used for soft clayey soils. Vibroflotation method is used for combating deep deposits of loose sand soils, and tetraprobe method is used similar to vibroflotation technique. Lime piles is used in clayey soils with high moisture content, and stone columns is used to improve bearing capacity and to reduce settlement in case of soft clays. And geotextiles serve the function of separation, filtration, reinforcement and drainage. Maximum to maintain the stability for long years, for long time they are going to use geotextile.